welcome to the Blockchain Bandits podcast. It's our first podcast, and in this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything blockchain. You're going to be with me, myself, Jeff, and Andy.
And me, Andy.
Yeah. I come from an online trading background, so I used to mainly trade Forex, still do a little bit, and I've owned two websites, trading websites, and just became fascinated with the world of blockchain when I was looking into cryptocurrencies when doing a blog post for one of the websites, and here I am now.
And I have a economics background from university. However, I fell into software engineering. My first experience with blockchain was at my first job. They used blockchain technology to communicate, for traders to communicate with trading commodities. But yeah, I've been software engineering now, going on 3 years. And I'm in my free time. I'm continuing to learn how to develop blockchain. Use blockchain to develop decentralized apps.
Cool. Yeah. So, why do you love blockchain? That's what people are going to be wondering. And everything. Why are we bothering to make a podcast about blockchain? What's so great about it? So, yeah, let's let them know. Why do you love blockchain, Andy?
Well, personally, I think that the technology behind it is it can help fight a lot of bad things going on in today's system. Like it can help for example against fraud. It can help with just like protection of data.
Yeah.
It's a lot safer. You no longer need to depend on one body where they like it's all centralized.
Yeah.
To handle the data. Honestly, this technology can go so far in connecting people who never had like bank accounts in their lives, or they don't have a fixed address. They can store money on their phone, like because they're connected to on the blockchain. It could be money, it could be tokens, it could be anything. It's just safe.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, like it's so young now, this technology, but it's getting so much attention towards it, but it's deserved attention because people realise how powerful the technology is behind it. So yeah, there's a lot to love about it, really.
Yeah, I agree. Like you mentioned the decentralization thing, that's like a big point for me because a lot of companies and governing bodies are abusing the power they have as the centralized body, like central banks. We've all seen like the mess they've made of the whole world, and like companies like Facebook and Google, they have so much of our data. They literally know our whole entire lives through all our activity on the internet.
They really do. Like.
Yeah, they have so much power, and we haven't chosen to give them this power. Like we may know they have that power, and we do actively give them that power, but most people aren't even aware that they have that much power or what they're doing with that power. That's one big thing. You mentioned as well the fraud thing. Like it's a lot safer. So like people's funds will be a lot safer on the blockchain than they would in a centralized system because it's not just one like server they have to hack basically.
Yeah, exactly.
To basically get your details.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's the main reason I love the blockchain. It's just that it gives the true freedom, which I think what the internet was actually made for. Well, it was at one point the freedom for people to basically develop themselves and be in control of themselves and their funds, every aspect of their lives really. And now it just seems like the internet is just a place where you're just giving that away daily just by using the services that you need. So and it's not really fair that you have to sacrifice literally your whole entire identity just so you can use the service.
Exactly. And it's the fact that they're profiting off your data.
Exactly.
As well. That's what frustrates me.
Exactly.
People will assume that I don't need it, like, or I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, these are lost people.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an invasion of privacy. What these the corporations and companies are doing. But yeah, being your own controller of your data and your money, that's a big one.
Exactly.
Is, I think, important. And if it's decentralized, I don't need to trust a shady corporation or business who are profiting off me while they use all my data. Like, yeah.
Well, yeah. So those are reasons why we love the blockchain, I suppose. But it's still young, like you mentioned, and like it's still developing. It has its drawbacks.
Yep.
And it still has things it needs to
iron out.
Develop. Yeah, and iron out. Yeah, because it's like one of them is I briefly went over it in an article I did on Steemit called "Disadvantages of the Blockchain" or "Weakness of the Blockchain" rather. And that was its complexity. Like right now, it's at the stage where it's going to be so difficult for. I used the example of your grandma. Your grandma is not going to be able to access applications on the blockchain because she just won't know what the hell's going on, and that's one barrier it has for right now. Like, if your grandma can't use it, then the wider public, you have to assume the wider population isn't going to adopt it. So that's one thing, and that's one thing we're going to address on this podcast. We're going to try and make things a bit simpler for people so they can understand. Every podcast we're going to go over one thing to do with the blockchain and just kind of make it clear for you. And one thing I think is important for anyone looking into the blockchain to know about is to know what a fork is, a hard fork. Because you might, looking into the crypto world, you might have heard that word being thrown around, but you will just have no clue what it is, and it's just hearing about it might be a bit daunting to you. So yeah, we're gonna go over what a fork is. So really, in the simplest form, if I had to describe a hard fork to someone, I think of it as, you think of the blockchain as a path, and the transactions are going along this path, and every time a new transaction's made, a new portion of this path is made, and you can go further down the path. And then imagine you get to the end of the path, and then basically another path is streaming off to the side down another path, and now this is what a fork is. Now in the blockchain, think of the blockchain as a path, and then it forks to create another path adjacent to it, and that creates another blockchain. And you can either stick with the current blockchain or go into this new blockchain. And the reason for hard forks are like updates and improvements.
Yeah.
Because one of the things to do with the blockchain is that it's immutable. So you can't go into a blockchain and actually change the blockchain. So you have to basically create a new blockchain in order to, if you want to update it, or just, if you want to update it, basically. Did you just say?
The best way I describe the fork, I don't know if there's any programmers or anyone who's worked with Git, is, and it's actually where it comes from, is it's just a fork of a repository. So a repository is in, like, you have your project and you're working on it. Let's say this case Bitcoin, there might be there's a team working in Bitcoin, and two groups in the Bitcoin team might have different views. They feel that they should add a certain feature, whereas the others don't. And so what they do is they decide to fork off the current repository. So it forks into two, it kind of splits. The exact same thing, it's a copy. It's a copy from that point, and then the new forked currency adds its new features, and that's where you get these new coins. So we're actually going to talk about the future Bitcoin, the past Bitcoin forks. Okay. And they're going to be good examples. But yeah, like there's Bitcoin, the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. They're forks of each other.
Yeah.
That's just an example, and yeah, that's the best way I can describe a fork, really.
Yeah. I hope you guys understood what we were saying. It's kind of hard. Maybe perhaps we'll put like some sort of diagram somewhere, maybe into a video when we upload.
Yeah.
And just to make
to break it down,
yeah.
as simple as possible.
Yeah.
Because the concept, once you understand it, it's pretty easy to get had your head wrapped around. But like soft forks and hard forks are a bit blurred lines, really. But basically, I might as well say what a soft fork is. A soft fork is just like a hard fork in a way where the repository is forked off, so a copy is made, it's split into two. But the new feature it's more like a addition. It's like a, how can I say this? It's like a side project for now. They work on it. Right. So it's kind of like with Ethereum, like they're
like
working
like a temporary sort
kind
of
of like that, yeah. So they're working on it towards it, because there's I think there's 2 parts or 3 parts. I don't quite remember of the Ethereum fork, because it's Byzantium and Constantinople.
Yeah.
So it's a progression.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a soft fork.
Yeah.
But I really in the markets, what people like to say, like they know the difference between a hard fork and soft fork is, if it gives coins, new coins, then it's a hard fork. if it's like not like, and it's just improved features, boy, it's a soft fork. I mean, like, and that works.
Yeah.
That works in this market, really. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's what I got for that and the forks.
Well. Yeah, so I hope you guys understood that. You can ask us questions in the comments and stuff, and we can get back to you and clarify things if you have any problems. Now, we wanted to talk about a specific coin, and this is something we'll do every podcast. We'll pick out a coin and we'll go over it and decide, give our opinions on it, basically. And so this week we're going to be speaking on Zencash, which is a coin. Did it come out of China? Do you think was it?
I mean, it came out of it was a fork of Dash.
Yeah.
So Dash coin itself, I believe it was.
I thought it was a fork off of Zen Classic.
Wait, was it? Bitcoin was a fork of Dash. Dash was a fork of wait, 1 second.
Oh, no, bro. No worries. Because I was under the impression that it was like, it basically Bitcoin.
Of a Zcash, yeah.
So Bitcoin forked, and Zcash was a fork from Bitcoin. Z Classic was a fork off of Zcash, and Zencash was a fork off of Z Classic. So it's basically like Bitcoin's great grandson or something. If you think about it that way, yeah. So and the difference between Zencash and Bitcoin is that it's more of a privacy coin, that you can't. It's more secure. It's more private. It basically, what it does is it basically, you can send notes with your transactions, and that feature allows you to be able to send encrypted messages with your transactions, and that's a big thing in the world of privacy, because on the blockchain, a lot of things are just open. Everyone can see whose transactions going to who, and
it can make you vulnerable.
Yeah, it can make you vulnerable. If you think about it from like a business point of view, you don't want your competitors knowing what transactions you're making,
how much you earn,
exactly,
how much you got in your,
exactly.
If they know what your address is or your wallet is, they can see that. That's the thing with this non-privacy coins. Everyone can see who has what, but they don't know who it's attached to. But they can work it out. Doesn't take a genius to work out, really.
Exactly, because think about it this way: if you know, just from common knowledge, that let's say person A, Alan, does business with person B, Bob, yeah, and then you see see person A making a transaction to person B every month, and then you see on the list, oh, there's one person they're sending money to every month, and you know Bob is a person that deals with him every month. Then you will have Bob's address and Alan's address, and you would have been able to figure out that easily. And so there's basically no privacy from that. Where if Bob doesn't want you to know his address, you know, so and Zencash allows for that privacy using a lot of clever encryption, and they use what they call secure nodes, which are specialized nodes that I think they're extra powerful. They're more powerful than other nodes. I don't know how they actually allocate the nodes, but these nodes basically keep things, the transactions secure in the chain, in the Zencash chain. And I think that's something that could add some value to it and make it go up in price if you're thinking of it from an investor's point of view, because big companies are going to be looking at this going, okay, cool, we won't be able to use Bitcoin because we want to keep things a bit hush-hush, so maybe Zencoin's the cryptocurrency for us when the crypto boom happens and people start using cryptocurrencies more. Maybe it'd be better to do business using Zencash. And if big businesses have their money in Zencash, you know what's going to happen. The price of Zencash is going to go skyrocketing.
Yeah. One thing I want to add is obviously like there are big benefits to privacy coins. However, obviously there's drawbacks because as the current cryptocurrency market is pretty unregulated, I think it's due regulation. It's gonna happen. It's growing way too big. So it'll be interesting to see how that might affect privacy coins, because one of the things the like government and media are saying is about cryptocurrency is, they're being used by terrorists, and they're being used by criminals and drug dealers, and so obviously it seems like the privacy coins will get a hit. That is something definitely to keep in mind. But like usually, I feel like it wouldn't be anything crazy. That's just kind of a side note. But yeah, continuing with Zcash, with Zencash, sorry. It actually, when it forked off Zcash, Zcash was the first cryptocurrency to use Z-Snarks.
Okay.
Z-Snarks are basically like Z-Snarks basically wait 1 second. I've read about this as well. Give me a second.
Sounds cool. Z-Snark.
Z-Snark.
Name. So is it some sort of algorithm or encryption?
Yeah, it's basically it's like it is like an encryption. It's like zero knowledge. But basically the technology behind it is very powerful.
Okay.
And they've in Zen Classic they've actually carried on with it's still in their project.
Okay.
And they still use it. But yeah, like it's I know Zcash, which is another one of the top privacy coins. One of their main features is the Z-Snarks.
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool. So yeah, so they got a lot going for them in terms of privacy and being a privacy coin. And I think that if you want to think about the world in the future using cryptocurrencies, if you believe in that world, I think privacy coins are gonna have to be a necessity in certain in certain industries, because you got to think about it, as much as we love blockchain technology, not every single company um, or industry will need the blockchain. It can be used in so many different ways, but you got to think about the right ways for it to be used, because if you can't apply it to everywhere and you can't really force it. Right now, blockchain is a bit of a buzzword, and people want to just include it into their industry because it can help them get some investments and whatnot. But in reality, there's only certain industries that can, right now anyway, as the technology stands, that it can actually benefit. But on the whole, I believe it still has the ability to benefit the whole world in a positive way.
Yeah.
Still has issues, like we mentioned before, but it will get there eventually. So yeah, that's basically my take on it. I get a bit passionate when I start talking about blockchain technology because like I said, it's life changing, world changing. So yeah. So Zencash is the coin of the week. We'll probably leave some links below so you can go do some of your own research. This isn't investment advice, and if you do decide to invest in anything that we do mention, you make sure you do your own research or visit a financial advisor, because we're not qualified to give you investment advice. We're just giving our own opinions. So yeah, bear that in mind. So yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to cover?
Other than the whole fact, Zencash did make hit a massive boom recently.
Oh, how much did it grow?
A good amount of percent. Basically, it was around. It went from about 124,000 satoshis, so about $6.50, and it boosted up to about a highs of I think it was $24 to $25. So that was nearly 400,000 satoshis nearly. But since about I would say like 25th to 26th, it started to drop back. A lot of more attention has gone into other it took a lot of attention out of the other privacy coins. So it took a lot of attention out of Monero. It took a lot of attention out. Which one's the other one? Dash.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And obviously Zcash.
Yeah.
However, there could be a few factors as to why there's been a dip. Something I've been talking to you about is how the market acts when Bitcoin drops, and how Dash basically reacts to it. So basically, when I have a theory, and it's a pretty well known theory anyway. A lot of people do talk about it. Is when Bitcoin's hit a pretty high, it starts to drop. A lot of volume goes into currencies like Dash, which allows the users to spend their currency. So the theory is that people are just swapping Bitcoin for Dash, and then spending it.
Basically, they're swapping it for more liquid cryptocurrencies.
And so that could be a reason as to why it dropped. I know Monero brought out something. I'd have to check, but basically, Monero got a bit of hype about 2 or 3 days ago. So it could be a added onslaught of the two. However, I have a feeling that this coin is a very good coin. It is on par with Zencash, Dash, and Monero. And if you look at them in your coinmarketcap.com, Dash is 6th, Monero's 10, and Zcash is 16.
Mm.
Now, I mean, like, I believe it could get a top 50 by the end of the year. Not end of the year, sorry, by the end of next year, definitely. Definitely. Because it's got a good team behind it as well.
It does.
A good team behind it.
I was looking into it.
Yeah, like, so I, like, again, I was holding a bit of Zencash. And I'm also been holding since it's gone down, like this past week. I'm gonna continue holding my Zencash.
Yeah.
I hope it does well. Yeah, for my sake. But yeah, like it's a pretty good coin. So I'm not too worried, to be fair.
Cool. Yeah, Zencash does look promising. But yeah. So what other coins are you passionate about at the moment? Or you know what? Maybe we should talk about what people should look for when they're looking into a coin, how they should look at it when they're actually doing their research. Because it's one thing us saying, "Oh yeah, go and do your own research," but if you don't know what to look for, it's very it can be very difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me personally, when I'm looking at a coin, first I go see the coin's website, look at all the stuff from there, check out the white paper, and the white paper basically declares what the technology is, what their aim is, how it works, how they're planning to implement it, what they think the future holds for it, how they're thinking of acquiring funds, all those details, their marketing plans and things like that. It's all on there, and I it's definitely worth checking out. Even you can still read Bitcoin's white paper, which came out in 2009, isn't it? When it first came out of nowhere. So like you can that's one thing you should do. Another thing you should do is personally, I was saying this to Andy earlier, I don't buy into ICOs. I just wait for them to come, wait for the blockchain to launch, and then I just see how the technology runs, because ICOs are unregulated now, and you got to think about it this way. If a company was starting and they said to you, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that,
basically selling you a dream.
Yeah, selling you a dream, and they asked you to give them money, you most likely wouldn't. You just think, well, any clever person would, you think, all right, let me just see how it goes. Show me a prototype, show me a beta, let me see how it works, how functional it is in real life. And then you might think, okay, let me invest my money, because otherwise you're just trusting them on their word. And that's not how business works. Like, you need to know what you're putting your money into. So for me, the advice I'd be giving you is to wait and see how it works in real life, see what bugs it has, because you never know, you might invest in an ICO one day, next day it gets hacked and literally all the money just disappears, like and you don't get your money back. And you just bought a wasted coin. So that's another thing I look into. I think also you got to see how the community feels about it. The crypto community is quite vocal, and like if they feel like something isn't up to scratch, doesn't uphold the principles of cryptocurrency, so it's not decentralized. It's just basically something like a bank coin, which is a term used to describe coins that are going to be controlled by banks, essentially.
Like Ripple.
Yeah, like Ripple. And just things like that. If the community rejects it, it's not a good sign, because it might not fly. Because Ripple are starting to backtrack now, and you're seeing articles coming out about how they're going to try and be more decentralized and things like that, because they realize, you know what, there's no chance they're going to do anything with the community hating on them like this. So that's one thing. What about you? What do you look out for?
Well, overall, the first thing I look out for is it worth it? So, I think everyone in the market needs to understand that, like, people just look at Satoshis and how much it is in like their currency, or so USD or euros or pounds, and it's almost like it's not real money.
Mm.
Like it's almost like, oh, it's just a game. Like you might be spending 100, 500, a grand, 10 grand on a ICO which you possibly may never know about.
Yeah.
Or just because you've seen it, like never go on Coin Market Cap. Just choose the highest volume one or the biggest gainer and just jump on that wave, because you will lose money. And because people know that there's gullible people who do that.
Exactly.
Because of this cool fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And you will just be like fish food. So it's I think that's the main thing. Before anything, even looking at it, ICO, I think you need to be smart and you need to understand what exactly you're getting into. Don't do it. Don't go into ICO just because of hype. Don't do it because you've checked out someone else's research, because this market again, it's very like people do analysis to almost support themselves or support what they want to believe in.
True.
So you, again, do your own research as Jeff said. But yeah, to continue with, as Jeff said as well, like the white paper, you have to read it, and you need to take, if you're going to spend 100, 500 grand, 10 grand on the ICO, on a coin, what potentially might make you rich or make you lose all your money, like you might as well take your time and read the ICO.
Even if it takes you an hour to read it, you might as well read it. Like,
just read the white paper, right? Like you might learn something. You might find it interesting.
Yeah.
Like, also you need to look at its competitors.
Yeah.
You have to do that. You all coins have its competitors. You might have there might be a unicorn was like the only one in that field. I can't think of any for now.
Yeah.
I think Tether. I guess that's a unicorn.
It's IOTA one.
IOTA's like its own kind of It's kind of like, well, Ethereum kind of like its own system. Well, Ethereum has got kind of battling with Neo. I think
and
IOTA's
EOS
on
as well.
EOS as well.
Yeah.
And IOTA's like on, I think, with them.
Yeah.
But IOTA's different.
Yeah,
it's so different. I think it's a bit of a unicorn. Yeah,
we have to do a podcast about IOTA.
Yeah. No, IOTA is something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you should like, again, we listed privacy coins, and I said Zcash, Zencash, Dash, Monero. Again, these are privacy coins.
Yeah.
Monaco's another one, I think. But yeah, like if you're gonna, I personally think that if you're gonna back one, like if you're gonna back a coin in a group, back one from each. If you want to, like, don't back two, because like basically if privacy is a big thing with coins, like say if like, okay, this is a scenario, governments have started regulating a lot, including people's money and including cryptocurrencies, and so there's been a massive influx in privacy coins because people don't want the government to know what they're doing with their money. Like this is just an example. So who is everyone going to back? All of the privacy coins, possibly. But if you back the one which you've done the research, you've read all the white papers of those coins, and you said, no, this is the one because of it could be the team, it could be just a roadmap, just how the developers update their investors. Like it could be there's just good communication and listening to the community. Like it's just stuff like that, and you back it. You know, and you've already been on that shit. And you can just like and you will just enjoy your investment then. Like
that's another good sign you mentioned about them listening to their investor, because a lot of ICOs just basically do what they want because they're in it to just make money.
Exactly, man.
I've seen some ICOs, they have like a Telegram group and they do polls on there. They make the investors choose what their next step is. I saw one, I was in part of a group where they were talking about, they basically wanted to team up with this marketing team and they didn't want to just go ahead and do it. They put up a poll on their Telegram, they made sure everyone voted. And then they just went along with what everyone wanted to happen, basically. And it was quite cool. You don't really get that, like, if you buy shares of Sony, for example, Sony's not going to come to you and ask you what they should do next. They're just going to do it.
Yeah.
They don't give a, they don't care about
They don't
you.
give a fuck about you.
Exactly. So, yeah. So that's that basically, I suppose. In terms of investing. Yeah. So we're probably going to draw this to a close. Just going to finish off by saying, first, thanks for listening. And
thank you.
there's going to be more of these. If you want to support us, please upvote this on Steam and comment, interact with us. Soon we'll have wallets for you to donate to. If you want to, you can donate any amount you want. And you can also just follow us and like us and subscribe to us on YouTube and things like that. And hopefully we can bring these to you, make them even better each week. This is the first one, so we're just finding our feet, but we'll also be speaking to a lot of you guys and taking on board what you guys want us to talk about. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, thank you for listening. Yeah, make sure anyone who's listening would like us to talk about any particular topics what they want to know more about. We can do that. We can definitely do that.
Yeah, definitely.
We've had a talk, and we do want to be able to communicate and help anyone who's on this journey with us as much as possible. Because again, like, we're trying to find our feet, as Jeff said, and we'll need as much kind of like support as we can.
We'll be supporting each other. Be like
a
exactly.
Community. Exactly.
And hopefully we can get some special guests on here soon. People who've invested and done well, or just people who know about the scope of the crypto world and help you guys, give you another angle, and then we can maybe get angles from people who are completely new to it, who are on the same sort of boat as you, and just they can describe their journey. Maybe you can see a parallel between them and you, and so But yeah, thanks for listening. This is Jeff and Andy. Usually we'll be joined by next week we'll be joined by Courtney, who's new to this, but he's not here today, so you'll see him next time. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.